What's up, homies? This is the upgraded V4 now. So there's a new underlayer. It's a fibrous one, which means the glue can seep through it. So I now put a base layer of epoxy, then I shrink tube this fibrous shrink tube around it, then I put another layer of G-Flex on top, then I wrap the handle, then I put another layer of G-Flex on top. So there's 3 layers of epoxy keeping this handle down. Huge upgrade, huge update. It doubles to triples the amount of time it takes one of these. Now, with this upgraded version, as you can see, the blade is a little bit different too. It takes 3 times longer to grind one of these because I'm doing a full kind of polish and a full flat grind. So it's much more of a custom, unique, 1x1 bespoke knife. But when it comes to the scalpels, it's just it's such a consistently good product. Right? It's proven itself so well. So I figured I might as well just go all in, get it completely finalized. The traditional method, of course, is using the rubber shrink tube. There's never been any issues with that. I like it a lot because you get these colors. But again, with this approach, you don't, that blue shrink tube, it's not like absorbing the glue. The glue's just going on the surface and underneath, right? Like you put the base layer underneath, and some of the shrink tubes have their own glue as well. I don't use that for this purpose because the glue that's inside the shrink tube, even though it's very, very good, it gives way inconsistently, so you get changes in the pattern and the consistency and the cleanliness of your strings. And then it gives, but it doesn't give back. So when you tighten something, it'll shrink and squish and squish and squish. But if it loosens, it doesn't go back, which is bad for the paracord. You want to have a lot of tension and you want to have a lot of tension in that string. So, but with the glue now, like everything is all adhered to all the surfaces. I've taken off, this is also G10 epoxy, but just the paracord. I've cut it off and it's solid. It's on there for good. So this is just another layer, another extra super, super tough. Now it's just everything. There's just glue everywhere. It's almost like as if it's stabilized. But anyway, and in some ways you could argue that this is significantly stronger than, an injection molded handle. It's definitely stronger than full tang in these because, you don't have any holes down the middle of the tang. There's only one hole here. This is all full tang, full metal, no holes. It's very, very strong for its size, And then having this handle like this with so much glue and fibers and tension and tightness and a G-Flex, being held together. So it's a very, very, very sturdy product, very high quality. Now, of course, because it's a very small blade, it won't take necessarily all that long to, eat your way through the whole blade as you sharpen it over the years. But it's a small blade and it's a thin blade. So I've talked with a lot of CEOs from major manufacturers that we can name. Well, everybody knows their name. Everybody has their folding knives and stuff like that. And I asked about how to price these with these CEOs, and they were all saying roughly around $190 for this. I'd like to be able to sell them that much. It is worth that much. I mean, competitive products cost more. It's just, and then of course you have all the inflation and stuff like that. The thing is, like, this is no longer kind of this has now become sort of a fully custom 1x1 knife because of all these added complications in making them. But I want to make them as high quality as possible because right now the V4 is kind of the working model, which will lead to the more affordable models. So I've tried here in the past, you see, I've tried these affordable scalpels like this, right? The problem is you make 20 of them, and even if you sell them all, the math doesn't really quite add up. I tried to sell those for 40 bucks each, but you know, the sheath, the steel, you do all the math, the eyelets, it's like $10, $15 each, euros each, just for the steel and the raw materials. So at $40 each, $35, that's not even your profit. That's just covering the cost. So, you know, and the thing is, like a knife like this, handmade or whatever, I think $35 would be perfect. The perfect price for this. But again, I'm one guy. I have to make all of these. And then by the time you're done, it's not the same, right? It doesn't add up. And so all that work, you know, you make 10 of those and it's $300. And then, you know, it's like, wow, there's actually a lot of other things you can do, because, you know, like I could have made one of these or two of these instead. And so I'm trying to, because the thing is with a product like this, it's kind of rough. It's kind of difficult to ask, even though it's custom. I'm sure a lot of knife makers out there and a lot of guys, they would argue that, oh, you should sell that for like $80 or $90 or something, you know? And yeah, like actually if it was priced at that price, I could actually afford to make these comfortably. But the thing is, like, it's this thing that I have with like full steel knives. I there's a lot of people out there, and there's even people copying me. They're making like full steel, you know, rivet locks, even something like this, maybe not as nice. And you know, full steel, just full steel, you know, stainless, all laser cut, no effort, flat grind, you know, whatever, full steel. And they're charging like over $100, like 120, and it's like, I find it really, it's almost scammy to ask more than $40, $50 for a full steel knife. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like, there's a lot of people who want just the blanks for these, right? I don't know if I have any more left. Here's like a black handle one. But so I was making just the full steel version of these and selling that as it is, because people want to wrap their own handle, and that worked really well. It's just, it gets to the point where it's like, it's not really knife making anymore, you know? Well, I guess it is, but granted, I was selling those for like 30 bucks each, but it's just, as a knife maker, I got to put a handle on these fucking knives. And I noticed that, yeah, it's just, if you want a full steel knife, then you just go to Booker and pay 20 bucks, you know. Chances are the metallurgy is even better than a lot of the handmade knives, so I'm just gonna say that out there. Here are some of the sort of more previous versions. You see in the past, you can see they're quite nice, but I was playing around with the choil. So the choils have been my biggest kind of difficulty with this knife design, figuring out what's the best choil. And it just led to the point where I don't even bother. I just grind the whole thing, and then I do 2 or 3 passes with a chainsaw file just to give a little roundedness there. And that's how I finish it. So when you look at all of these, you can see every time I made a scalpel, I played a little bit with the sharpening choil. So, and another thing too, you'll see that, like, for example, there's a little, how big that ricasso is compared to there, right? And because of that, it's much more difficult to polish. And you'll see on a couple of these, a little scratch there. The finishing isn't all that great because it's actually super difficult. The bigger the ricasso is, the significantly more difficult it is to actually do a full proper polish. So most of these knives that I have over there, they're like rejects. So I don't know. I've been thinking, should I put a rejects page on my website where people can pick up all the rejects? Because there's quite a lot. You know, like, think about it. For the last 3 months, I've worked on 4 or 5 batches of knives and they all failed. You know, it's just the way it is. Sometimes life fucking kicks you in the ass. And when it comes to manufacturing, like when I'm doing more like volume stuff like those, well, what happened is I did 80 of those scalpels, and because they're carbon steel, they all rusted because I grind everything wet. You have to grind hardened steel wet. That caused some major issues, and it's just kind of snowballed out of to biblical proportions. So I was thinking anyway that it would be smart to have a rejects section. And, you know, you look at some of these. If you like sharpening choils, and everything about this is totally fine. If you don't like sharpening choils, well then, I don't know, get one that has a significantly smaller one. I'm trying to make the sharpening choil as insignificant as possible. And then as you sharpen the edge, and the edge starts to climb up, you can get a chainsaw file and just pass it a couple times in that choil just to make it a little deeper. So you see, there's anything wrong with this other than it just doesn't have the sharpening choil that I want for the design. And then of course they've got the colory one. So I don't know, you guys tell me, should I have like a rejects page? Because I don't know if that's like the right thing to do. It might look bad. I don't know. Or it might look good. I think it would look good because it's honest. It's like, oh wow, I just made 30, 40 knives and I'm only satisfied with 2 of them, you know? So these are coming up. I'm a bit mixed opinions about these. I'm not sure. I think I'll just finish them up anyway. When it comes to forged blades, I'm a huge fan of using this jute twine. I like this. I like this, you know. When I use paracord on the forged stuff, it doesn't look quite right. This looks raw, this looks organic, this looks like it was made in a farm, you know, and it was. So, you know. But again, a knife like this, the perfect price, $85, $90, but it's very realistic to find stuff like this that's being charged for $220, you know? This is reclaimed spring steel, right? It's like 100 kilos of that is like $15. It's $15 for each piece of steel here on each scalpel. So, you know, there's kind of a, you know, there's like an obvious price discrepancy. Now, granted, there's a lot of extra work when you do it like this. So, but anyway,